Good morning to you. Hope you're well today. Welcome to Kathy Mill Ministries. Today, the title of what I'm going to give you is called The Good Part. I'm going to read to you from Luke 10:38 onwards. Now it happened as they went that he, Jesus, entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part which will not be taken away from her. And I'll read from the Passion Translation those last two verses, 41 and 42. Martha, my beloved Martha, why are you upset and troubled, pulled away by these many distractions? Mary has discovered the one thing most important by choosing to sit at my feet. She is undistracted, and I won't take this privilege from her. And so what I want to point out to you that I picked up in the scripture, which is very obvious, that Mary was the one who sat at the feet of Jesus. There's another translation. It might be the Message, I'm not sure, but it says she soaked up the revelation, that the words of Jesus were revelation, and she was soaking it up. But Martha is the one that we become, all of us, at some point in our lives, where we'd love to, in our heart of hearts, we would love to spend all day sitting at the feet of Jesus and never having to do anything in our lives. Wouldn't it be amazing? But it's an attitude of heart here. Martha was distracted with much serving, so she was doing what she had to do. She had household chores, she had to serve people, she had to look after people, and that kind of thing. And so because she had become so distracted with her busyness, she had a problem when she saw Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus. That was the real issue here, that she had a problem. And so there's something about those words that Jesus said, Mary has chosen that good part which will not be taken away from her. She's chosen the better thing to do. And I want to say to you that the distraction here that Jesus, that the scripture speaks about, the distractions were the busyness of life. But what I've realized is that in my life, the distractions become the things of the enemy that are trying to get me to focus on something else. When God has given me a promise and it looks opposite to the promise, the distractions come to try and get me to a place where I'm going to help God to make it happen without realizing that I'm in this place, that I'm going to do more to get God's attention quicker so that I'll get a breakthrough quicker. You know that feeling? And I believe that it's at these times in our lives that we have to stop and realize I'm over-analyzing this thing. I'm trying to work it out in my mind. I'm trying to find out what's the next thing I can do to get God to do what he said he was going to do. And all the time God is patiently waiting. Did you notice when I read the Passion Translation that Jesus didn't sort Martha out when she said, what, this is unfair, this is terrible. Mary's sitting at your feet listening to what you're talking about, and I'm the one doing all the hard work. He didn't sort her out. He said, Martha, my beloved Martha, why are you upset and troubled? Why are you allowing these things to distract you from what I've said to you? Just be patient, just wait, just sit at my feet, instead of trying to help me to make it happen. And the reason I can say that is I'm going to take you to the book of John, chapter 11, one of my favorite stories in the Bible. It's the raising of Lazarus. And here we find the same sisters. I'll read from verse 17. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Lazarus was already dead. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Now Martha, remember, Martha was the one who was into busyness, into doing everything that was right to do. Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. She knew the right things to say. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is come into the world. I want to say to you, many times when we become distracted with either the busyness, the doing what we know to do, the doing what we think is going to get God's attention, we become so spiritual, we're going to pray more than we've ever prayed before. And unless you're led by the Spirit to pray more than you've ever prayed before, you're praying in your own steam. We're going to confess the word. We're going to do whatever we can to shake the gates of heaven so that God will give us the breakthrough we need. And many times when we're in this place, we get to the place where we're saying things because this is what we heard other people said before. We make a declaration because this is what we did before in a different situation. And we thought it worked, but we weren't sure. So unless we get out of our distraction by busyness and our distraction by doing all the stuff, and choose to sit at the feet of Jesus, we're going to be making empty confessions in our time of need. So she knew exactly what to say. She was a doer. Martha was a let's make a plan kind of person. Because listen to this. When she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary her sister. Jesus never said, where's Mary? In anything I read to you before, did Jesus say, go and fetch Mary? So she said to Mary, the teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, Mary, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. So there are a few things here about Martha, the busy, let's make a plan kind of person. She knew exactly what to say. She had it all down pat. Do you know those times where you have your scriptures and you make your confessions, God is my provider, this and that, but it hasn't come from a fresh place of revelation because you sat at the feet of Jesus before you began to make your declarations. She met Jesus before he came into the town. He wasn't there at the tomb of Lazarus. He was outside the town. And Martha was such a let's make this happen that she ran to meet him before he even came into the town. Don't run ahead of God. Don't force him to, don't try and force his hand by what you can do to get him to answer your prayers. And also she went secretly to Mary and said Jesus was calling for her. That was her helping, trying to help Jesus in the situation by going to Mary and getting Mary to go to Jesus, because she knew that Mary was the one who had sat at the feet of Jesus. She knew that Jesus had said, Mary's chosen the better part. She's chosen the good thing to sit at my feet. So she thought she could help Jesus along by bringing Mary onto the scene to see what would happen. There was another person who was found sitting at the feet of Jesus, and that was the man in Luke chapter 8 who was, we know as the Gadarene demoniac. And it says in Luke chapter 8 verse 35, should we find it in my Bible? Luke chapter 8 verse 35. Now remember, this guy had a legion of demons. He was found running around in the caves, cutting himself. Why can I not find Luke chapter 8 verse 35? And it says this, then they went out. After all the demons went out of the man and entered into the pigs, it says, when those who fed them saw what had happened, because those pigs ran violently, they jumped off a cliff, or ran down a hill. and fell into a lake and drowned. When those who fed them saw what had happened, they fled and told it in the city and in the country. Then they went out to see what had happened and came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. There was such a turnaround in this man from running around in the caves without clothes on, cutting himself. When he was set free, the place he wanted to be was sitting at the feet of Jesus. Now, I want to say to you today, in all your discouragement, your anxiety, you cannot make things happen. It's at this time where God says, hold your peace. Just be quiet. Just wait on me. And you need the biggest breakthrough of your life. Can you think of Mary and Martha? I can understand how she felt. I want to help Jesus with this. I want my brother back. I know he can do miracles. But what she was saying was what she knew to do, because she was a let's make a plan kind of person. And God doesn't need you to help him bring his plans to pass. God doesn't need you to help him make things happen faster. God has a perfect time for you, and your key is to stand and hold your peace. I'm going to talk to you in this coming week about the Red Sea situation. It was another situation where there was no way out but God. And this is exactly the same. But what I'm saying to you today is, make sure that you choose the better part. Maybe you think you know what to do, but because it worked before. But God doesn't want you to use ways that worked before to get a solution for a breakthrough that you need today. So today your answer is, choose the better part. Sit at the feet of Jesus. Soak in every word that he says to you, because he wants to speak to you. And if you're a make it a plan kind of person, say, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not making any plans. I'm only doing what the Spirit of God instructs me to do. So get the empty confessions out of your head. Say, God, I need to hear something fresh, so that what is coming out of my mouth is fresh off the press from heaven. And that's where the change comes. That's where the breakthrough comes. So I want to pray for you today that you will find that place of peace. As you choose the better part, you choose the right thing, you choose the good thing, to sit at the feet of Jesus, where he wants to look at you and say, my beloved, whatever your name is, why have you become so distracted and troubled and anxious about all the situation? Come and sit at my feet, and I'm going to fill you up again. So be encouraged with that today.